Absolutely awesome. Right, Dan. Brilliant. Well, welcome to Yorkshire Business Focus. It's lovely to see you here today.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. Yeah, thanks for the invite. Great to be here.
Not at all, not at all. Let's crack straight into it, Dan. Tell us who you are and what it is that you do.
Yes, I'm Dan Todd. I founded Impactful Marketing in 2019, and we specialize in hands-free, done-for-you lead generation campaigns using Facebook ads primarily, but we are looking to expand to all the other paid platforms. We have the privilege of running campaigns for many well-known experts in the UK: Rob Moore, Daniel Priestley, Nick James, to name a few. And yeah, we've started out small and we're growing fast.
Tell us where you are, Dan.
Yeah, so we're based in Scarborough, North Yorkshire. Sunny Scarborough is often the term used, and it's definitely used sarcastically. It's definitely not sunny 99% of the time. Yeah.
All right, cool. So how do you get those great names on board with your marketing agency?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. So, it started with one of them. So, before I went self-employed, I worked for a well-known property investor and speaker trainer, Aaron Curry, who at the time lived in Scarborough as well. So I was his main marketing guy, running his ads. But I always had the intention of going solo. So I took those skills and kept Aaron as a client. And then, Aaron loves to help out, and he's obviously got many friends who are really well known experts in their fields as well. So it just spread from there really, one led to another, and yeah, keep spreading. Yeah.
So one led to another seems to me to cover a whole bunch of activity, learnings, mistakes. I don't know. What did you do to get from one to another and then get a collection of those clients on board?
Yeah, I mean, at the time it was difficult. It was just, the patience. We had to get the results for those clients, and it's not easy. We're responsible for spending thousands of pounds of their money. We need to spend it right so they get a great return. So it was definitely slow going. One after the other. They had to rightfully, learn to trust us. It's one thing hearing good things about us. It's another thing seeing it in action. So we had to, gain their trust, and we've become, like a member of their team, really. We're part of their family and their business because we're that close to them in how we work. And yeah, that reputation just spreads, because there are sadly a lot of other agencies out there that are, they'll take your money and not run, but they'll spend less time dealing with you, whilst we prefer to focus and really give value and become part of the team of our clients and become part of their family.
Sounds like there's something of a core value for your business right there in terms of the amount of time and dedication you give each client. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, 100%. So I have a complicated health history, which means that, long story short, I have a need, a extremely strong desire to give back to the world. I'm not here just to just for myself. I'm here to give back to the world. I take my responsibilities and commitments very seriously as a result of that. And that reflects in the services that we provide. Constant 7 days a week. Like we give everything. The only day off I had last year was my wedding day, and even that I had a client call in the morning, but don't tell them this.
Think she might know about it now, Dan,
All
to be fair.
embedded. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just embedded, really, that strong commitment and just dedication to just give your all. Yeah.
So does that mean, I mean, that obviously comes from you. That's obviously something which drives you really strongly. How many people do you have in your team just now, Dan?
So right now we have 4 plus me.
All right, cool. So we've got 4 plus you in your team. Are they all working 7 hours 7 days a week?
Oh no, absolutely no. I would never let them do that. So like evenings, weekends is all me right now. I need to figure out how to balance that better, so I can spend more time, because we've just had a baby boy. But equally, I'm trying to make sure that the quality of service doesn't decline in the slightest. So I'm currently working out how to best manage and balance that, because I refuse to let that service decline in the slightest. But equally, I'm doing it all for my family, and I want to spend more time with them. So it's just getting that careful balance.
That sounds like a really careful balance, and it sounds like a really critical time in your life. Which drives you more strongly, the business or the family?
Um, it's the family, but that's why I do the business. Yes, I want to give back, but also I want to create the best possible life for my family. So I do it for them, but then it leads to the typical conflict of the more time I'm spending on the business, less time spending with them. But then I'm trying to create a better life for them long term. So it's a constant conflict, but I'm working out that balance.
That is interesting, because I mean, you've had some challenges in your life with the health issues that you've had. You've had some real challenges behind you. What do you take from those challenges that you've had in your life to bring to this, which sounds like a real dichotomy at the moment between your real desire to give back to the world and the fact that you've got a family who really need you? So what can you take from what's happened to you previously in your life that you bring to this particular quandary you have at the moment?
Yeah, so you know, well, effectively, I nearly died 3 times over the last 32 years that I've been on the planet. NHS, I owe so much to the NHS and just the world in general, in my view. So, you know, life is so short and precious, and you need to, well, in my view, I need to give back. I feel like I'm in debt to the world. Um, Other people might not see it that way, but I take responsibility very seriously as not just a father, but a husband and a business owner, an employer, and you know, as a human being who wouldn't be here without the NHS, doctors, nurses,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
technology. Um, so I take all that very very seriously. It made me very mature. So I nearly died at 12 years of age. I had a life-saving liver transplant, and that made me very mature very early on. So when I went back to school after like a year off school, I was much more mature and advanced because I had to
How do
do
you
to
describe that kind of maturity? I mean, it's maturity sometimes comes with a series of experiences,
Mm.
or maybe something else. So how do you describe that maturity, Dan?
Yeah, I just took things way more seriously, and you know, I shouldn't have been there. Like, and sadly, yeah, it takes an experience like that to really appreciate, you know, how lucky we are to be here and the experiences that we have. So yeah, it made me very responsible, very
Okay.
accountable.
Yeah.
As I say, I do feel like I owe the world a debt that I can't possibly ever pay back, but I want to do as much as I can to do that, to kind of, you know, offset the fact that I shouldn't be here. So yeah.
Interesting languaging, that I shouldn't be here. When clearly you are here, so you should be here.
Yeah, but yeah, it was very close to not being the case a few times. So yeah, I have a coach and I speak to lots of people, and they think the way I think it is feel like I'm in debt, but that's just my logical mind, I guess.
Yeah.
I take things seriously, and you know, but absolutely grateful for being here, and I want to make the most of it. Um, so
And how do
that's
you
my
make the
focus.
most of it? As you've grown the business, you've also got some great clients on board. Obviously, you've got married, you've got a young family. So how do you celebrate? How do you celebrate the successes?
When it comes to celebrating, honestly, I'm not very good at it. As soon as I achieve something, I think, right, what's the next thing? So on Saturday, I spoke on stage in front of 100 business owners for the first time by myself.
Hey, brilliant.
Um, Leading up to that, I was very nervous, and then it went really well. And then afterwards, you'd expect a degree of relief and happiness, but I was thinking, right, okay, what's next? I'm not
150
very
business
good.
owners, clearly, or 1,000
Yeah,
business owner.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm speaking in November at Expert Empires with about 600, so that would definitely be the next step.
Nice.
But yeah, I am bad at celebrating successes because I I feel like the whole world is also a competition as well. Like I need to stay ahead, and no matter how good I am, I'm still behind. So I'm probably a bit harsh on myself, but my coach is trying to help me
You're probably a bit harsh on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's 101 listeners now going, no shit, Sherlock.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what kind of things are you looking at to ease that out, to actually, celebrate and give back to yourself a little bit? I mean, it's all very well giving back to the world, but there's you and there's your young family as well. So how do you envisage that changing?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's still early days, to be fair, but yeah, I am trying to take more time out, and I do try and reflect at the end of each week, what we've achieved as a business,
Yeah.
and what I've achieved personally. I need to get into a better habit of doing that. I am constantly just focused on the next thing. So it's early days, but yeah, I do give myself the odd break and odd opportunity to reflect and appreciate how far I've come. But honestly, I'd rather just focus on the next thing. I don't want to slow myself down by spending a week going, "Wow, I've achieved something new." Let's enjoy that. I want to keep going.
So I'm now getting a feeling that since you've had those 3 occasions in your life where you're so grateful to have life, you're just grasping, you're just trying to cram as much progress in as you can in what you've got. Would that be the right feeling? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, and that also stems to after when I came back from school after liver transplant at 12, that was a very difficult transition, and it really affected my confidence and anxiety, which led
Okay.
to a decade of very strong social anxiety, which meant that on one hand I wanted to give back, but on the other hand I was holding myself back with my anxiety.
So what triggered the difficulties in school when you got back?
Quite frankly, the bullying of me by fellow students, for whatever reason. We're all kids at the time. I don't judge them on that, but it was very difficult to deal with all of that, and
And what was the subject of their bullying? Was that around the fact you had a year out, or was there something else that they found?
Yeah, just because I was different and I had a different experience. I looked different because I lost so much weight when I was dying before the liver transplant, and then all the medication, all the trauma, having to learn to walk again, etc. I came back looking physically a different person as well. I had a fat face, I still kind of do, but not nowhere near as much due to all the steroids and just everything that happened that just led to just
Right.
bullying, which really affected my self-esteem and led to anxiety for a long time.
And that stays very, very deep rooted, doesn't it, in terms of social skills and our confidence just going out to the world.
100%. It's still an issue now, but nowhere near as much that I wouldn't be on here right now. 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't have started my own business. I wouldn't have been on stage at the weekend. But it's still definitely there. It's still a part of me, but nowhere near as much. And I'm trying to not let it hold me back. But I also feel like I've got 10 years to catch up on as well, because I'm 32, and there's many business owners that I know of, and lots of entrepreneurs and people that I inspire to be that are around the same age or slightly older, and I feel like I'm behind, so I need to catch up.
It's interesting. Often on these podcasts, we speak to people who have got, to a lesser or greater degree, they've got some form of imposter syndrome. And that tends to show up in a variety of ways. It feels to them like it's a kind of anxiety, but in actual fact, it tends to drive people to be better and better at what they're doing. Are you finding the same with your anxiety? Can you actually couple it and use it in a way that helps you to be better, stronger, more resilient, more competitive, or just more narrow-minded, for want of a better phrase?
Yeah, in recent years, I have been able to use it to my benefit. So my natural skill set is running paid ads, marketing, strategy, lead gen, all of that stuff, and that requires a particular mindset and approach. You have to be data driven. You have to be happy sat behind a screen, playing around with all these different. It's like a massive game of chess. So the fact that I'm not maybe as outgoing as the average entrepreneur that is actually a benefit, because people, pay us an awful lot of money to run their campaigns.
Yeah.
They know they can trust the best out of me, because they know I'm not going to be, out and about at events all week long. They know I'm going to be grounded and running their campaigns behind the screen, because that is my. So I do very much play off that now.
Yeah.
When I was speaking on Saturday, I said, this is the opposite of my comfort zone. But I used to be ashamed of that, but now I'm proud of it, because it means I can do a better job at what I do, which means, yeah, I do absolutely use it to my advantage now.
And I love that. Once getting outside the comfort zone is where the growth really occurs, isn't it?
100%.
So it may seem like a strange question, but obviously you had those bullies in school. What lessons can you learn from those bullies? What can you bring to your life that they taught you?
Yeah, general, kindness, and just trying to be understanding. Until I had those health issues at 12, I'd had a fairly healthy life. I was unkind to children. It's not unfair to say. I didn't used to try and understand, what people were going through. So now I take that time to, really, think, what could they be going through? Those people that were being mean to me at the time, they would have had things going on. You just need to really take the moment to just appreciate and think, what we've all got things going on that lead us to, how we're being. Everyone's the same. We need to be understanding. So I'm always trying to be, less judgmental and just trying to understand.
That's a great phrase that one of my coaches uses about as you head into an argument, or when you're considering having an argument, it's always good to walk a mile in the other one's shoes.
Yeah, 100%.
Then at least you're a mile apart and you have his shoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So tell me, as you've grown the business, tell me what one thing's been really unexpected for you? What's really surprised you as you've grown your business?
Probably, I mean, originally, and this is probably down to my anxiety, originally my business was called The Marketeer. And the whole idea that I always had in my head was I just wanted to do everything by myself. But that was due to my limitations, anxiety, low confidence. So being able to, get over that and realize I needed to get over those challenges to help more people, to serve more people, and also create a better life for my family. I had to get over that. So that was a big lesson. And it took a while. And yeah, now I've got a team of 4 who I couldn't imagine running the business without. So yeah, just that transition from relying entirely on myself to now having a team was a big one. But yeah, fantastic lesson to have.
Brilliant. And then going back to that celebration piece, what 3 small wins have you had in the last 3 months? What's gone really well for you?
Yeah, so speaking at the weekend was a great achievement, not just for me personally, but for the business. Showcased our skills. One of our latest clients is also a big hero of mine, a well-known marketeer, someone who I used to and still aspire to. So being able to now serve him and deliver marketing services for him is like a dream come true. So that is a great achievement as well. And having our baby boy, so we had a baby boy called Tristan. Now he arrived late March, 2 months early, 2 months premature. That was at the time very difficult on the business and on the family. He had to be, for the first week, he was the other side of the country with my wife and his mother. I tried to be with them as much as possible while trying to balance work, and it was a difficult time, but now it's all amazing. So that is an achievement in itself. That was amazing.
Yeah. No, I said small wins. When I said small wins, I didn't just mean physical.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say, like when I think about it, I can't really initially think of wins naturally, but when someone asks me and I actually think about it, it's like there's actually an awful lot. I just don't take the time naturally to think about it myself unless I'm asked. And yeah, realistically, there is a fair amount.
Too right. Yes, it sounds like there's a hell of a lot of them. So going back to that 12-year-old, when you were 12 years old, knowing what you know now with the evolution that you've made with yourself. So what message would you go back to that 12-year-old with right now? What's your message to that 12-year-old?
Yeah, easily. It's got to be, don't take things for granted. So I did take everything for granted back then. Health and just everything that we expect to happen, in the world. Just don't take that for granted. Appreciate what you do have instead of thinking what you don't have. Um, my family was not very well off financially, so I often felt a bit missed out that I didn't have the latest game console, or things like that. Whilst I still had an awful lot, and it was that family that got me through 6 months in hospital,
Yeah.
and a very long recovery. It was that family that had to travel 70 miles to Leeds, to where I was in hospital for those 6 months, because in Scarborough we didn't have and we still don't have those facilities. So yeah, it's just appreciate what you have, not what you don't have. And to be completely transparent, I do often find myself comparing to what I don't have. I compare to my competitors that are bigger than us, more well known, and I do still think that, to be fair, it's a constant battle to not compare and think, how far I've come, because they've had other challenges, they've had a different different journey. There's no point comparing where we're ended up right now. But yeah, it's still a constant thing, to be fair.
Brilliant. Dan, it's always great to speak to somebody that has been at death's door at least once. 3 times over is quite an interesting one. So it's always a pleasure, and thank you so much for sharing so much with us today. I do love that, just being appreciative of what you've got. I think that's a lesson that we should all maybe take away from speaking today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and things like that, at the time it seems the worst thing you've ever had to go through, but really it's a gift. If you do, you are able to take away so much learning. It does end up feeling like a gift once you get better and recover. It's a great thing. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I love that perspective on it. Dan, thank you so much for coming on Yorkshire Business Focus. It's been an absolute insight hearing about your journey and what you've taken from it and what you bring to business now. And I think all of us wish you all the best to you and your family going forward from here, as you find some more time to invest in them as you have done for everybody else. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me. And yeah, great to speak to you.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you very much indeed, Dan. Great to speak with you. And
Thanks a
that's
lot.
it from the Yorkshire Business Focus this week.